What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Regio Tejano podcast. And I know a lot of stuff been going on in the news. There's been a lot of talk about is it safe to go to Mexico. Texas pretty much put an advisory telling everybody that they don't want people to vacation in Mexico. So I'm gonna talk about one of the states that's on the do not travel list. It's a state that I go there a lot. I have to go through there because my family they're on the other side of that state. All my family's in Monterrey. In order to get there, you got to go through Tamaulipas, and that's the state that I'm going to talk about today. So shout out to all my people from Tamaulipas, and let me pretty much explain like some of the tips that I have on how to go to Mexico, and then I'm going to describe each of the cities that's on the border with Texas and Mexico. All right, so first and foremost, how do you get there? There's three ways you can get there. You can fly, which is the safest way. You can drive, or you can take a bus. If you drive, my suggestion is park in the U.S. and walk across. 9 times out of 10, if you're going to go to a border town, whatever you need is right as soon as you cross the border. So all the dentists, all the restaurants, all the shops is right as soon as you cross the border. You don't really have to go deep into the city unless you want to. But for the most part, if you're just going to go for like a doctor's visit or like a dentist, just stay pretty much close to the border. Um, Also, I do not suggest you drive through there. Do not drive just because they see those plates and people, they start getting ideas. They think you're rich and they might try to rob you. They might break into your car or they might jump in front of your car and try to get money off of you, try to shake you down that way. So my suggestion is do not drive to any of the border cities. A lot of people do it. My uncle does it a lot, but he's had problems doing it as well. He had somebody that hit his car, and then they start yelling at him, saying that he owes them money, and it was the other guy's fault. So, people do try a lot of crazy stuff. So, definitely just, be on P's and Q's. If you don't want to lose your car, it's better not to risk it. Just park on the U.S. side, walk across. There's a lot of parking garages right in front of the border, so there really is no need to drive. And then the taxes, they're cheap. They're not that expensive as soon as you walk into Mexico. Sometimes they'll charge you double, but it still ends up being like no more than $10. So my advice, park your car, walk across. All right. Also, Texas has a lot of bus companies. If you're gonna go to Mexico, the one I use the most is Studimex. I use Studimex because it's a well-known bus company. It's not fancy. It's just a regular like Greyhound type of bus, but it does take you to more places in Mexico. Turimex is safe. Los Tornados is safe. Normally, the better known bus companies they pay up with like the cartels so that they don't get messed with. If you go with the company that's like an up and coming bus company, I don't recommend it because they might not pay the bribes, and they might pull everybody off the bus and rob everybody, which has happened before. They have done that. So if you're gonna take a bus, take it with a better known company, and you're not gonna have any problems. All right. So now that I've given you some tips on what to do, where to go, how to get there safely, let me describe each city. I'm gonna start with the safest one, which is No Progreso. No Progreso is the safest one. It's a city. It's like a little town. Imagine a flea market. That's a whole town. That's pretty much No Progreso. Everything Mexican that you might want to get, it's in that little strip. It's only like one long street. So No Progreso, it's pretty good. They got everything Mexican, all the like crafts that they sell in Mexico. You can get that there. Cheap tequila, you can definitely get that there. But you do have to pay whenever you cross it across the border. Also, all the dentists, all the doctors, they're right there. There's a lot of competition. The work is okay. It's not like the worst work. They do fillings for like $20, like cavities. I've had fillings done for $20, but it's okay. But I feel like the dentist that I went to, I feel like it was a little shoddy. So, I mean, there is that. You don't get a refund on that. So, I mean, just gonna have to bite the bullet. But for the most part, I never really had a problem going to a dentist in Mexico. I've had braces done in Mexico. I've had teeth pulled in Mexico, and I never really had problems with the dentist over there. So definitely check them out. It's a lot cheaper than in the U.S., but No Progreso, that's the better known city. Now, I will say this: if you're gonna go to Mexico to get some dental work stuff, I might recommend going to Monterrey. It's a safer city, and it's just the assumption is that it has better doctors because it's the richest city in Mexico. You got higher end stuff, so a lot of people they tend to look at Monterrey to be like, all right, it's a little bit better. But Tamaulipas, they definitely have very good doctors. I've gone to doctors in Tamaulipas. I've gone to dentists in Tamaulipas. So No Progreso, it's a hot spot for cheap doctors. If you want to check out more information, you can go to Dental Departures, which is a website dedicated to people going to other countries to get medical work done, specifically dental work done. So you might want to check them out. But No Progreso, safe city. I never had any issues there. You know, good food, a good time in No Progreso. I do recommend coming back before it gets dark because you never know how it is at nighttime. All right, next city I'm gonna talk about is Matamoros. Matamoros, I would say out of the four that I'm talking about today, it's the third safest. But that is where the Americans got kidnapped at in Matamoros. Now me, I feel like I feel like it was. I'm not saying it's blown out of proportion because obviously two people lost their life, but Matamoros to me is not the most dangerous city in Tamaulipas. I've always felt a lot safer in Matamoros than I have in other cities, and talking to the people in Matamoros, the people I've encountered, good people, hardworking people. Uh, One of the dentists I went to, she was in Matamoros. She was from Matamoros, you know, and like I said, I mean, young, hardworking woman, working hard as a dentist, very educated. So Matamoros definitely it has a to me in my eyes it has a good I'm not saying it has a good reputation, but I've had good experiences in Matamoros. The people that I've met, hardworking people. I mean, everybody's out there trying to hustle. Everybody's out there working. You see a lot of young, educated people. A lot of people in Tamaulipas are doctors and dentists because there's a lot of money to be made from Americans that go to Mexico to get, medical care because it's a lot cheaper in Mexico. So you do run it. I mean, I would say pretty much that's the main industry. It's doctors and dentists. Outside of that, I mean, of course, working in factories, a lot of maquiladoras in Matamoros. Matamoros just got a pretty good history. Origo Tovar, he's from Matamoros. So Matamoros, it can be safe, but at the same time, it can be dangerous. That is where the cartel started. It started in Matamoros. Back in the 80s, there was a cult that was going around killing people. So, yeah, it's definitely had a share of violence. But, like I said, Matamoros, I haven't had a bad experience in Matamoros, and I feel a lot safer in Matamoros than I have in the other two cities I'm gonna talk about. So, just take whatever I say with a grain of salt. Everybody has different experiences, but for the most part, Matamoros, I feel it's an okay city. Stuff happens, especially as you guys saw in the news, the Americans that got kidnapped. But for the most part, Matamoros is not the worst. I mean, definitely be aware of your surroundings, but also recognize that there's a lot of good people in Matamoros as well. All right, the next city I'm gonna talk about, Reynosa La Maldosa, and it definitely earns that reputation. Definitely earns that title. I feel like it's a lot more violent than Matamoros. Reynosa, it's across the border from McAllen, and definitely it's very busy because a lot of people from the valley you know, they cross into Matamoros and vice versa. I mean, they cross into all three, but Reynosa to me is just it's just a little bit more dangerous. To me, my perception, I've always felt it was a little more dangerous, and maybe that's because when I would take the bus to Mexico, they took us. The bus went down one street, and it was a brand new subdivision that was all riddled with bullets. So maybe that's why I have a bad, taste in my mouth with Reynosa, because pretty much that was a neighborhood that they stole all those people's houses. Like people used to live there, and then I'm guessing they just took over their houses or something, where people left after a shootout. But yeah, Reynosa definitely. I've always felt more endangered in Reynosa than I have in the other two cities in Tamaulipas that I've talked about. So yeah, definitely Reynosa, big city. Like I said, doctors and everything. You are gonna have a lot of doctors there, and the good thing is everything's in the beginning. As soon as you cross the border, they're all right there, all the doctors and everything. So definitely, try not to venture too far into Reynosa. But out of all the cities in Tamaulipas, Reynosa probably has the better economy, the best economy out of the other cities. There's more jobs in Reynosa. You can see that Reynosa is still growing as a city, and definitely it gets more business, more traffic than Matamoros, and probably that's because of the roads that it leads into. Like, you can go to Monterrey through Reynosa, and then it's across the border from McAllen. All the rich Mexicans from Monterrey, they love to go to McAllen to go shopping. So, Reynosa definitely gets a lot of traffic from pretty much the state of Texas and the state of Nuevo Leon. So Reynosa strategically is just a city that's at the right spot. It's in between two big places. So there's a lot more money to be made in Reynosa than in the other cities in Tamaulipas. So it does have that going for it. All right, the last city I'm gonna talk about is Nuevo Laredo. Nuevo Laredo, to me, I've had the worst time in Nuevo Laredo. I have seen people get killed in Nuevo Laredo. I remember crossing. It was 5 in the morning. My dad, he's real terco. He didn't want to go to. He didn't want to take the bus from Laredo, Texas. He wanted to catch it in Nuevo Laredo because in his mind he thought it was faster. So we crossed the border, which at the end of the day it didn't matter. It was the same bus that we would have gotten on in Laredo. It's the same bus that would have picked us up in Nuevo Laredo. So it was just stupid because as soon as we got to the bus station, we still had to wait an hour. So to me, it didn't make any sense. But we crossed it to Nuevo Laredo, 5 in the morning. As soon as we cross, you got young 20-something-year-old dudes pretty much describing how you look on a radio, and asking, yo, what do you want us to do? Like, whatever you're dressed. And this is right in front of the army. So, as soon as that happened, I was already like, oh, hell nah. And then, we got in a taxi. I always sit behind the taxi driver just because I don't want to get robbed or anything. So I'll sit behind them. So they try to rob me, I can choke them out or something. I mean, that's what goes on through my mind. I mean, who knows what I would do. But, that was my mentality going in there, kind of just trying to be aware and just think like what I could do. But anyways, as soon as I saw that, I was already like, oh, hell nah. And then, we're driving. We're at the red light. Two trucks pulled up. They start yelling. One of them had Texas plates on it, and he took off. The other truck went after him. And pretty much one truck made the other truck crash. And the guy just sprayed the whole car with bullets. I'm guessing he was trying to rob him, trying to take his truck. Like I said, last year, a lot of people were just getting robbed, and all of them from Texas. Like anybody that was trying to cross from Nuevo Laredo to Monterrey, they were getting robbed. So you couldn't even drive there. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, they do have cartel checkpoints where they pull you over and they will steal your car. And I've had bad experiences in Nuevo Laredo. Thank God I've never been robbed, but seeing somebody get killed definitely, you know, lets you know, okay, this city is pretty dangerous. Try not to go through there. Try to avoid this city if you can. That's why I think Reynosa is like a little bit better than Nuevo Laredo. But yeah, definitely Nuevo Laredo to me, out of all the border cities, is definitely the worst one. It's the one that I do not recommend traveling through. I don't even recommend going there for dental stuff, especially if you got No Progreso, which is a whole lot safer. Or and you got Monterrey that you can just fly there. And flying is a lot cheaper than it used to be. They got Viva Aerobus, which is a Mexican company that can fly you for like $90. So driving to no through Nuevo Laredo to me is just asking for it. I definitely don't suggest you do that. I pretty much just suggest if you're gonna go to like Monterrey, I rather you fly over there or take a bus. Do not drive. And if you're gonna go to Tamaulipas for dental work or a doctor's visit, definitely you can do that. It's pretty safe. I know people that go to Matamoros or Reynosa every week. Nothing happens to them. No Laredo. I don't have any family in Laredo or anything like that, so I really can't speak on it too much. I can only go by my experiences there, and as I said, my experiences in Nuevo Laredo is not that good. I felt it's a lot more influenced by cartel than the other two cities. Like I said, Reynosa, it's a big city. It's more like a regular city, pretty much. Reynosa has a better economy. I'll say it's the city that makes the most money in Tamaulipas. Matamoros, there's a beach there, so they get some tourists. You know, so Matamoros is a little bit better off than Nuevo Laredo. Nuevo Laredo, it's I mean they got factories there too, but like I said, it's just to me it just seems more dangerous, and it's more important for like cartels and for like factories because it's right off of I-35, and that's the freeway that connects you to San Antonio. That's the freeway that connects you to Dallas. That's the freeway that connects you to Oklahoma City, and it goes all the way up to Minnesota. So definitely, I-35 definitely is important, and 59 is right there as well. So you got two very important freeways that you kind of have to understand why Nuevo Laredo is so important. And when the drug war kicked off, it started because of Nuevo Laredo. Like that's what they were fighting for. It was for Nuevo Laredo. So definitely, it's always had its bad reputation, and unfortunately, that's kind of what Nuevo Laredo has become. But as I said, Mexico, definitely you can go check them out. The other two cities, they're not bad. Um, Let me know your experiences in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, take a bus. Don't drive over there. And and keep cash on you in case you gotta bribe somebody. I never had to bribe a cop, but I've been in the car with people that have bribed cops before. Don't just give them the money straight up. Talk to the cop, and then when usually there's two. When one of them leaves, that's when you make the offer. Like, hey, look, man, can you take care of it for me or something like that? And then just then they kind of show them the money, and then they'll, for the most part, they'll kind of let you go. But yeah, definitely keep cash on you just for bribes in case you get pulled over there. So yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments and tell me your stories on the times you guys gone to Mexico. All right, I'm out.